Alright, this is part 2 on 2 Sears tractor restromods. So this one here is a 1973 ST16, which is being converted to a white and black roper. And then this one here is a 1973 also SS16, that's supposed to have the Onan, that has a Honda GX390 and has a Hydro Gear 10L Hydro from sometime in the mid to late 90s Craftsman. And then I just made this Mower-Deck / PTO Engage pedal that is just like what these GT18s are supposed to have. So I took the original one and cut the little lever off, and then I made my own. Kind of just replicated the original. So did that, and then I did some just minor touch-ups and stuff on this since the last video. I put the headlights in, which are just for looks, along with the front grille. A bunch of other little fine touches. I painted the rims on this one too, along with I found some red shift knobs, and then I put those on there, which those I've actually painted, which it's kind of funny. I can't remember what paint I used, but you can see where the red paint's chipping off, and then there's black underneath. Because all of the tractors, I think 76 to when they quit making them in 1980, have red shift knobs. And then I painted probably a good dozen of them. I couldn't even tell you what paint I used, but it holds up pretty good on that plasticky rubber stuff. But the next thing I'm going to do here with the SS16 / GT18 is these kind of cheap looking decals that I made, which is just paper that is laminated, if anybody is wondering. I am either going to use this packaging tape to stick them on there, which sometimes I have done, or spray glue. And stick these on there. It's not great, but it's almost free, and this way I can make any decals I want instead of trying to explain to somebody on the internet what I want and have them make it or something. So anyway, I'm gonna get these decals put on it, and then probably get that pile of parts over there painted for this ST16. Then I'm gonna set this camera up on a tripod, and then you can watch me put this tractor here together and put that 8 horsepower brakes in it, and hopefully have 2 running tractors by the end of this video. So I got all the parts painted I was talking about. Now it's time to actually assemble the tractor. Alright, so I got the engine bolted in off camera. I couldn't find a good camera angle to get it, in view, because I broke my tripod. So here is me starting it. You might see a little bit of gas dripping out of the carburetor, and I didn't even realize that until after I shut the engine off. Alright, so as you've seen by that, I got a whole bunch of stuff done on it. And kind of ran into a little bit of issue there, which is why I shut the engine off so fast, is there's a huge puddle of gas on the floor, and I didn't realize this until long after I had it running. But there's a little hole right here. Actually, it's kind of big now that I see it, especially with the camera. That gas is just pouring out through, and I rebuilt this carburetor kind of rebuilt it. I cleaned it and then just kind of put a few new parts in it because like this jet here was missing. And I did notice there were some pits at the bottom of the bowl, but I didn't see any of them that went all the way through. So I think that is the only hole. So I might just clean this up really good and stick some JB Weld there, because JB Weld is okay with gas. So I might just do that. Shouldn't have to take the carburetor off or anything. But I'm going to get that done. And then I'm going to change it back to, I guess, the chair camera, because my tripod broke. So I have the camera just strapped to the chair, or clamped to it. And then put the hood pieces together, put the hood on there, and then steering wheel, and then kind of, you know, go from there and see what else we get done. Now I am putting the hood and grill on. As you can see, I'm bolting on the wooden lower grill. This is the same lower grill I had on the other one of these tractors I built a few years ago, and then I ended up actually putting a factory hood on it, and I sold it. So it just happens to be the same grill I had sitting around. So I ended up using it on this one until I find a proper aluminum one that it came with from the factory. Now I am putting the little rubber piece on before the steering wheel. And now I am putting the steering wheel on. I had to give it a few little taps just to get it on there. Now I'm putting the bolt in the middle with a impact to tighten it down. Alright, so as you can tell by that, I made some pretty good progress on it. So there's not a whole lot of stuff left on it. It's basically decals, which there's very minimal on these. A seat, a steering wheel cap. I need to wire up a key switch or just a, you know, on and off kind of button type thing. I got to paint this clutch pedal, which I'll probably just brush paint that. Figure out why this front tire leaks, probably just put a tube in it. And then side cover, pulley, belt. I don't have a pulley on it yet because this is a weird crankshaft, which I had to cut this pulley off of because it was rusted on there quite hard. It's a weird size. But this part here is the part I'm going to use. It's ever so slightly too big. And I'm going to have the engine running and then hit it with a grinder so I can get the original Sears pulley on there. And the reason for that is I can't use the smaller side of the crankshaft because I'd have to have the engine sticking out that side of the tractor so far. Because right now you can kind of see a little bit with the angle here that right here is where the pulley has to be. Which I don't have a pulley that fits that, so I'm going to have to grind that down a little bit to make that factory one fit. I thought this pulley here was going to work, but it's also too small. It doesn't go on there. And this one would have been really huge, so the speed wouldn't be right anyway. But that's probably going to be it for this video. I got, of course, the carburetor JB welded. There's a bunch of spots that were a little thin looking, so I added a little bit more. But I wanted to do some more, but because of that, you know, carburetor thing, and I'm just like, you know what, this is probably good for this video. The other tractor, I got the decals put on. Pretty happy with it. I still gotta paint up the front little caps for the dust caps for the front bearings, which are sitting right over there by the belt for the other tractor. So I gotta do that yet, and then I think this one's basically done. Clean the silver paint off the rear tires. Do something with the engine maybe, because it looks a little ugly now that I see it, but we'll see. I made, of course, side covers, so here's a side cover for the roper. Side cover for this, kind of ugly looking. I cut it out with a plasma cutter. And then the fan shroud for the hydro. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for this one. And I've got a bunch of other stuff coming up, including, of course, the final video for these. So thanks for watching.